Vattelevision.
Mr. Irion, it's great to meet you, and just want to ask you a few questions. First, can you tell the folks watching what is the fundamental difference between the three cases that are being heard today?
The three cases that were being heard, actually the first two were very similar. In fact, they were more similar than we had initially imagined they were going to be. The third one is fairly different. The third one is the classic birther case that has been litigated many times in many courts, basically trying to prove various things about Barack Obama, like he wasn't born in Hawaii, he was born in Kenya, he gave up his citizenship when he went to Indonesia, his social security number isn't accurate, basically trying to prove that he either isn't a citizen or wasn't, or isn't even who he says he is. I have no problem with that. However, we've seen that is a difficult thing to prove. There's a lot of facts there. A lot of people have basically said you can't prove that. The first two cases were almost the opposite of that. They are founded on one simple factual issue and one definition by the Supreme Court, and that is Barack Obama's father was never a U.S. citizen, and under the Supreme Court's definition of natural-born citizen from the Constitution as a requirement to be president, in the case of Minor v. Happersett in 1875, they said that a natural-born citizen under the Constitution is someone who is born here and both parents are citizens of the United States at the time that they were born. So, and by that I mean that at the time that the natural-born citizen was born. So in other words, Barack Obama is not a natural-born citizen, not because he wasn't born here, but simply because his father was never a citizen, wasn't a citizen at the time he was born. It's not an indictment of him. It's not a commentary on anything having to do with anything other than the fact that there's just some people are not constitutionally qualified to be president. He's one of them. We presented evidence that should undoubtedly prove that his father was never a U.S. citizen, wasn't a citizen at the time that Barack was born, Barack Jr. Therefore, he's not a natural-born citizen. It's pretty straightforward and easy to understand.
Well, based on that, the evidence that was presented to the judge today, what are your feelings first about the fact that the opposing side chose not to even participate today, and then what do you think might be the ending result with the judge?
Well, the judge actually wanted to simply enter a default judgment against the defendants. We convinced him that even if he does that, we need to present the evidence in the record, just in case higher courts decide to look beyond whether or not the defendant had proper notice, which is all they're supposed to look at when the default judgment is entered, and if they decide to look at the substantive matters, we wanted to have our evidence and argument on record, and he allowed us to do that. How I feel about it is I'm appalled. Essentially, the precedent that was attempted to be set here by the President of the United States was that defendants can simply refuse to participate and still win. That's what he wants to have happen here. He wants to still be on the ballot in Georgia, despite the fact that a legitimate court of Georgia said, you shall be here, your attorneys shall be here, and he said no. Now, what that means is we have a president of the United States that is ignoring the third branch of our constitutional form of government. In other words, the executive branch is now saying that the judicial branch has no authority over him. And that endangers the very nation, and in my opinion is an impeachable offense.
Thank you for taking your time to talk with us and for all of your efforts in this.
Thank you.
Vattelevision.